Welcome everyone to episode 2 of the SkyTemple Podcast, an exercise in enthusiastic rambling about Explorers of Sky ROM hacks. MaxSchersey here, coming to you live from the US West Coast. And from down under in Australia, I'm joined by yakkomon. We made it to a second episode. The haters said we couldn't do it, but we persevered. Isn't that right, yakkomon?
Oh, yes. I can't believe we have made it, actually. After the first episode, I was thinking, oh no. Hopefully everyone likes it, but I'm glad you do. It's been great.
Yeah, it's actually been very strong reception. I've been pretty surprised by that as well. There's a lot of people that have reached out saying that they want to have an interview and get on the show, whatever. We'll try to get to everyone eventually. We're going to prioritize people that have made hacks, and the reason for that is just that's the perspective that both of us come from, so there's going to be more to talk about, and we're going to have better interview questions, I guess. I think we both need all the help we could get. I've never really done this. I don't know if you have. Look, we're just trying to make this entertaining. So
yeah, yeah, we're both rookies at this, which is good.
Another thing I wanted to say is this should be available on Spotify. If you subscribed on YouTube and you want to check this out on Spotify, that's your preferred podcast app, whatever, should be uploaded on there because there's a couple people who said they wanted that, and if it's not, then roast me in the comment section below. And
I'll roast you next episode.
Yeah, true. I want to also. I'm probably gonna shove this into the video somehow on screen on YouTube. There was one comment. The episode 1 got the classic YouTube signal boost. The day before we're recording this, there's this comment I fucking love. The title of episode 1 was 4 is the Morbius of PMD ROM hacks. This guy says, "I'm not a huge podcast fan, and I probably won't listen to this whole thing, but I need you to know that this title confused and upset me on such a primal level that I felt the need to click on this video." So mission accomplished.
Absolutely. I said maybe this was all a marketing ploy by me just to say that line so you can put that in the title.
It's true. Everything is manufactured. Nothing is real. Everything is astroturfed. We live in a simulation. Okay, you want to go into the news?
Yeah, sure. News. I don't know. I was almost thinking we could have an intro music for it. For some reason, I'm just picturing Team Charm's theme or something, sort of the do at the.
We'll add that in
at the start.
We'll add that.
Yeah. Well, you'll add that in post production.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. Lots been happening in the sort of the time in between recording. A few balance hacks have teased some new mechanics. Explorers of Alpha, which I know a lot of you are big fans of, they've teased some new mechanics for their for a later update that will include, and this is quite exciting, move growth. So move growth as seen in Gate Super and Rescue Team DX. So that's coming your way. And Explorers of Heaven and Hell, another balance hack, they've teased that they're going to add 60 new attacks to their next update and showing off four of them in a video: Mind Blown, Dragon Ascent, Psyshock, and Foul Play, all 4 of those sort of later Gen or Gen 5 Plus moves. And if you want to start hacking with some Gen 9 Pokemon after that trailer that was released a few weeks ago, the SkyTemple Spritebot has already got you covered. We've got standard portraits of all of the Pokemon revealed so far, and as far as I know, there are sprites in the works of, and it wouldn't surprise you, it's these 2 Pokemon, Sprigatito and Lechonk are the first 2 sprites that potentially you could put in your PMD ROM hack. So Stay tuned. Stay tuned. And I've also got written here PMD Retold announcement. What's that? Oh yes, that's my hack.
Yo.
So right now, bit of shameless self promotion here. Right now, I'm actually, as of recording, I'm actually streaming a 9.5 hour premiere stream of the first 20 episodes of Retold, for anyone crazy enough that wants to watch it. I've got 5 people watching at the moment, and it started an hour ago, so good on you, those 5 people. But the main announcement is that post-game is finally ready to be uploaded. It should be uploaded in probably around the time that this podcast is released, and if not, you can roast me in the comments.
See, now we both have something on the line.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, graduation exam, Team Firespark versus the Grandmaster of all things bad, and it's not how you think it's going to end up, the fight. So there's a little teaser.
All right. And that leads into the hacks that we are going to be discussing today. I wrote on the... we're going to be talking about 3 hacks. I wrote on the thumbnail in OBS because that's how I do it. The first week, I had to make this shit from scratch, and it was terrible trying to put it into my video editor, so this time I'm directly putting it in OBS and recording the screen. I know you guys don't care. But it's right now it says the 20XX trilogy is what we're talking about. And that is going to make a lot more sense once we start talking about this more. But the 3 hacks that are made by Meme Lord Legend Ass Cucumber. Some legitimately good stuff. If you guys do not have a background on this guy, so I'm thinking we should... Let me back up. There's going to be like a spoiler-free and a spoiler section for all these episodes, because, like I said in the first ep, kind of the point of this is to introduce the idea of this stuff and say like, hey, maybe you should check this out. So it doesn't really make sense to spoil if we're doing that. So we're gonna do like non-spoil stuff at the beginning, and then later we're gonna go kind of like more in depth, and then that's when we're getting into the weeds, talking about the details and whatever, and that will more often than not contain spoilers. The first of 3 hacks that we're going to be talking about here, the name of it, John Cena and the Quest for the Undertale Orgy. We're not really going to go on the weeds for this one because it has infamously been banned from the SkyTemple directory for you could probably guess why, just by that title. But it's not going to be eligible for Hack of the Year, so we're not going to really go into in too depth on that, I guess. And that's going to be our opportunity to just talk about how this guy makes hacks in general, because there are a lot of things that he does in John Cena that carry over to his other 2 hacks that come afterwards, and it's a really just bold... I'm telling you, this hack is literally straight out of 2015. That's something I said when I recorded a first reaction video to this. I really stand by that. It's you had to be there, folks.
It's a hack.
Yeah, it's a hack. It's literally there's the reference to that and his name is John Cena and Undertale both in the name of the hack. There's a Keemstar joke. There's the Trapaholics, damn son, where'd you find this? There's a Bill Cosby joke. Like, it's not just like old, it's all centered around like a 2 to 3 year span. It's actually insane. It's like a fucking concept hack, and like just that exact kind of humor. MS Paint backgrounds that are like shitty, you make in 2 seconds, but it's actually kind of a nightmare to import anything into this game with the palette limitations. And like, and I think also what really carries over to the other 2 hacks is there's like there's a sketch comedy feel to everything. Like there's a competent like a coherent plot being conveyed throughout the course of it, but it feels so hyper, for lack of a better word, like hyperactive.
I would liken it. Yeah, I would liken it to an Adult Swim cartoon.
Yeah.
To be honest, would you agree?
Yeah, this on some, might be showing my age here, but on some like Robot Chicken shit. I do get a lot of that. Ended up getting banned from the hack directory, and something that we may or may not ask about once we get to the interview. Probably. I don't know if that's like something they necessarily want to talk about because he's moved past it. But yeah, like it's just a very strong first impression. There's a lot of people when this hack came out, I guess, like why I keep bringing that point up. A lot of people were like really, really behind this. They were like, "This is fucking great," you know, like it's just a classic like high effort shit post. And that came out in the May 2021 Hack Jam. The Hack Jam 2 rolls around, which was in last October, I believe, October 2021. Then we get his Hack 2. And now we're going to really start talking details. So this is your spoiler warning. The other two hacks that he worked on, if you want to look them up, because they are still on the directory, and one of them might end up in Hack of the Year voting, etc. This one's called Shadot Comes Out of the Closet, and then his most recent one, Princess Alexander and the search for Obama's last name, I believe is what it is, or the quest for Obama's last name, something like that. I think search, but yeah, both of those. If what we just said sounds interesting, then stop listening to this podcast and play through both of those and come back. Okay. Spoiler warning over. First thing I want to say is, so we had a lot of people we could have started with, right? For episode 2, a lot of people that said they want to be on this podcast. I wanted to ask Cucumber, this is going to sound like a shit post, but because it's June, this is literally Shadot Comes Out of the Closet. This is a perfect iconic moment.
It's Pride Month, baby.
It's Pride Month. The second one we're going to talk about later is also kind of Pride Month related in another way, which is interesting. I don't know if that's on purpose. That's something I kind of want to ask. But Shadot Comes Out of the Closet. It's pretty much what it sounds like. This hex starts with you want to talk about that, or it's a Pulp Fiction.
It's literally, well, I haven't watched Pulp Fiction, but okay. my reliable sources tell me that it is a word, almost a word for word recreation of a scene in Pulp Fiction, where I guess there's substitutions in it with various Pokemon.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got me was Shadot is in Spinder's Cafe, and he's saying this scene to a parody of Team Firespark. And this is something that bleeds through a lot of hacks. Like you will probably notice, if you haven't played a lot of PMD hacks, that we like to reference each other's work. Especially like a number of hacks that, and we'll probably go into this a bit later, that reference the Mystery Mail event that was held I'd have to be about 3-4 months ago now.
Yeah, that's in 10 hacks that we're gonna have to cover.
But yeah, it's look, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's the fact that, and actually I didn't realize until I played the John Cena hack for this podcast, because I was one of the few that hadn't, actually, is that Cucumber actually credits both you and I
that's correct,
for getting him into ROM hacking. So I would say this is a tribute, to be honest, putting Team Firespark in.
Yeah, I mean, probably, you know, I am. Yeah, when I saw that moment at the end of John Cena, that was a real like, oh shit moment, because it's like I didn't know that anyone actually cared about the shit I was making, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will like say stuff, but they don't actually mean it. But him actually
Mm.
saying that was like, oh damn,
Yeah.
that was cool. If anyone's curious, by the way, that the particular Pulp Fiction scene is the the dead nice guy storage scene, I guess is how I'll say that. And it's just like a word for word recreation, pretty much, with Chadat doing the yelling, doing the ranting, and then
Yeah.
let's just talk about the gay bar scene because we're in the spoiler
Yeah.
section. People have already played this game. That is so fucking funny. When I got to this part, I'm like, how is this even better than the first hack? I think that is so stupid. There are so many people that because sometimes people will like stream their playthroughs of this stuff in like sometimes on Twitch, sometimes in Discord calls or whatever. I have ran into so many people who actually thought this was a sex scene. And I was like, what? I'm like, you guys are dumb. Oh my god. That shit is just
And it
so.
really it's classic cucumber.
Yeah, that's like this is why it was important for us to mention John Cena first, because that scene is so much better. Because there was like at the time there was some air of like, oh my god, he's gonna make another hack. Is he gonna get banned again? And then you get to the gay bar scene, and it's like, oh my fucking god. But no, it's it's not a sex scene. Really tough. Just fell on the floor and spilled his drink or whatever it was. I forget what it actually was. I think it's he spilled his drink, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He spilled. Wigglytuff spilled his drink and then was asking Chatot for his. And yeah.
And he says, "Give it to me now." I'm
so
soaking wet. Give it to me now. Stupid. Then there's a dungeon, which is notable because John Cena did not have a dungeon in it. It was fucking hard. I actually was very close to just cheating and going in SkyTemple to get past it. When I replayed this, I was like, "Jeez,
yeah,
shit's only 5 floors, but like it took me an hour to
4
clear."
floors.
4, yeah, that's right. The 5th one isn't actually a floor.
Oh yeah, no, I had the same problem. I think and the really what sort of made it hard was there are a lot of ghost types, and as you know, ghost types can materialize through walls,
Yeah, they're
and you can't
bullshit.
attack them. Yeah, and there's no gravel rocks or that to kind of hurl at them, so you kind of have to just rely a bit on just hoping that you can walk a couple tiles and they go on the floor.
Yeah, there's strats like I feel like we don't want to go too far into like bashing and doing, you know,
No.
putting on your fucking CinemaSins hat and going bad game design, whatever. Because you could go anywhere on YouTube and find motherfuckers doing that in the comment section. You know, we're trying to be like the one place where people like try to be positive. I wouldn't say the dungeon is like bad necessarily, but it is difficult. So that's just it is that whole October hack jam. Everyone was like, "Oh, would it be cool if you know we threw a million ghosts in here?" And it's like, "Oh, cool." that jam was really difficult for me because it was like, "Here's a really hard hack." Okay, got through that. Here comes, boot up the second one. Here's another really hard hack. Okay, third one. Here's another really hard hack, and then I just stopped playing at some point. I got through all of them eventually. But, man, you have a note on here about the cucumber item in the dungeon.
Yeah, I unfortunately I forgot to screen capture it, but the item description for the cucumber, I actually think like where John Cena was like so like just funny but shocking, like it's more kind of like I guess I think it's yeah, I think I really liked it. Like I like more subtle kind of humor, and I really
Uh-huh.
I really like the item description for that. So if you haven't if you haven't looked at if you played the hack and didn't see the item description for the cucumber, go back and look at it because I quite I
I
quite
forget
liked it.
exactly how it's worded, but it's something like the cucumber can either be nourishment or a fun time. I
Yeah,
think
something like
it's
that.
just stupid.
Yeah.
Pride Month. Okay. That's about it. This is like by his own admission in the README, he said that he like had to make this hack pretty quickly. It's definitely the length comes from how hard the fucking dungeon is, but not too many cutscenes aside from like the gay bar scene is like the one like what the whole hack centers around pretty much, and then it just kind of ends. But definitely like for how he transitioned after John Cena, like you said, it was definitely interesting to see that I mean he was still funny while like being kind of forced to drift away from that very, I guess, like that sketch
Shock
comedy
value
shock
humor.
value. Yeah, like I don't know, that the pacing from like the pacing of like where stuff was hitting, I guess, from John Cena is still there, but he was able to adapt. I don't know. That sounds obvious, but that's just the point I want to make. Okay, then we're going to Princess Alexander. I have so much written for
Yes.
this one. Do you want to start? I'm about to pop
Yeah,
off.
yeah. So Princess Alexander was made for the third hack jam that was just made about I forget what I think it was like around May in 2022, and the theme was various viewpoints. But this hack really, it's actually, and I talked about Mystery Mail before. This is actually a continuation of his contribution to it. So if you're not aware of what Mystery Mail is, it's pretty much a giant game of telephone, but with Pokemon ROM hacking. So you get a scene, and then you have to build on that scene, and then the next person gets the patch, but they only see the previous scene before. So it goes in various different ways. I was I know I participated in it, and and Cucumber as well, and a whole bunch of hackers did, and essentially what happens in his mystery mail scene is there's a MacGuffin, right, called the VIP juice that everyone is seeking, and so his scene was like, haha, we've stolen the VIP, like these bad guys, like, haha, I've stolen the VIP juice, but then Alexander, which is a Leafeon, she drinks it, and then realizes, and then the others realize it's not VIP juice but
It's
girly
the
juice,
girly
and so
juice. Pride Month.
it's girly juice. And then Alexander gets transported into a world where now again I look I miss so much internet memes that I actually don't know a lot of them, but Alexander ends up in a dream world where he's encountered by that guy from Crundle Quest 5, I think it was his name was,
Something like
and
that. Yeah.
yeah, and then they go on with that meme about that Amazon purchase about buying a programming thing, and then it's like, would you like these frilly
Yeah.
new socks as well? That was sort of, so that follows on from that, and um yeah, so then it's sort of, it's almost like a continuation of that scene where Alexander then kind of wakes up, and um
he wakes up and then the other two are gone, and then Evie shows up, Romeo.
Yes, that's it. And but I think this is, I think, a great example of just how Cucumber's like hacks have kind of changed to still have that kind of humor in it, but be like maybe accessible for a wider audience that, you know, maybe not, you know, maybe not fans of that Adult Swim type humor and all that. And there's one scene, I think, though, that I think I want you need to talk about, Max.
Yeah. This is I wrote so much down on the doc because this is actually no. When I was going back through, I kept picking up more and more stuff when I like played through this, and then I watched someone play it, and then I played through it again, and it's just more and more connections. Like, this might be a little going into tinfoil hat territory. I don't know. But when there's something like this to grab onto, I'm the type of person who loves this shit in games. I love it so much. So there's a scene. Yeah, I'll start with that. There's a scene in which Alexander is because of the plot ends up needing to save what is it, a Sylveon that is strapped up to like a pole or whatever in the middle of the room, ropes tied around, and C4 attached. And I see this and I immediately go, oh shit, is he gonna do it? And then Revolver Oshawott shows up from outside the screen and literally, like, almost word for word repeats the Revolver Ocelot introduction in Metal Gear Solid 1, which, like, on first glance, I'm like, this is just funny, because you have to think of all the bits that happen in that scene, and Oshawott shows up. He's literally saying from Special Operation Thievelhound, and then when you get to the part where he's like twirling the revolver, you get you get a screen cap of just like a shitty MS Paint drawing of the Super Soaker as he's talking about it in great detail. And then of course, Alexander has to throw in Snake's quip from or you know, Naked Snake's quip from Metal Gear Solid 3 about, you know, the sleek look of the original Super Soaker offers you no tactical advantage whatsoever. So that's just funny if you played Metal Gear. But then I started thinking a little bit like, wait, like, this isn't a completed story, so this I might be grasping at nothing, or I might be spoiling something, because whenever there's a reference like this, which I try to go back and see if this was the case with the Pulp Fiction one too, and I don't think so. I think it's just this and this hack. But I'm about to spoil Metal Gear Solid 1, by the way. 25-year-old game, but if you haven't played it, you absolutely should. When you're doing a reference to another work like this, where my mind always jumps is like, is this something that is like, there's some kind of thematic tie, or is there some kind of like sneaky foreshadowing going on, or something like that? In Revolver Ocelot's introduction scene in Metal Gear Solid 1, when Ocelot shows up, he's not actually there to kill the hostage. He's there to just bait out Snake, basically. So that's layer one, right? And of course, he doesn't actually want to kill Snake, like he says, because he's Ocelot. At any time, he is a double, triple, quadruple agent. At any point in any Metal Gear game, and you never know what his actual goals and intentions are. But by the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, you realize that the reason why Ocelot has this whole thing actually orchestrated is because he wants Snake to have this to have this interaction set up and like orchestrate a situation in which he like beats, in air quotes, Ocelot, and then Ocelot just leave so that Ocelot could take advantage of Snake later, because Snake is a pawn to everyone in Metal Gear Solid 1, basically. And the reason why I bring this up is because there are more parallels, because this could have very easily been like he just throws in a one-off joke about like the Super Soaker, and then the engraving is no tactical advantage whatsoever. But he goes all the way to in this hack do everything else that happens in that scene as well, pretty close to it, right? There's not the part where like Baker talks to Snake recreated, but there's the whole aspect of Ocelot shows up, doesn't actually want to fight, and leaves. So it's the same thing that happens, but played off from a parody, a comedic angle. But all the same story bits are still kind of hit from that scene. So that got me thinking, okay. Then I played through again. There is another Metal Gear Solid 1 reference in this hack, almost at the very beginning. The scene right after the girly juice thing. Romeo, the Eevee, threatens Alexander to tell everyone that he listens to Justin Bieber as a form of blackmail, whatever. And then Alexander says, "Oh, I see, blackmail." Romeo says, "I prefer to look at it as helping you come to a decision more easily." That's also ripped word from word from the debriefing before Metal Gear Solid 1 again, between Snake and the Colonel. So now I'm really starting to think, because there's been 2 separate situations, 3 separate ones if you want to stretch, where there's been this recreation to stress the point that Alex is the same character as Snake, which really makes you think. I just love these kind of connections, because if it were to actually lead to something, which I don't know, maybe this hack will continue, maybe it won't. There are so many like things that you can guess and theorize about. Like Metal Gear Solid 1 Snake in particular is someone who is a tool that is, he's kind of dumb, kind of gets played by everyone in the game. So it makes you think, how many people are lying in this game, I guess, is the question that I immediately go to. If you're making the point that Alex is Snake, then everyone else is lying. Where my brain goes. So another thing I want to mention, this is staying on the Metal Gear idea. Doing these kind of references to external media, probably the biggest example that comes to mind for me, like in order to make a thematic point like this, one of the first things you hear in Metal Gear Solid 5 is the song "The Man Who Sold the World" by David Bowie, which, if you know anything about that song, spoils the entire plot of the game. So I love that stuff. Let's see. I
was just letting you go, because the the amount of Metal Gear references in this hack, it's just
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a
but
lot.
But as we've sort of mentioned, this hack is kind of incomplete, because after that whole scene, both Alexander, Romeo, and the Sylveon, they are heading to a place called the Boozle Shrine. Oh God, I can't say that. Oh, it's a tongue twister, that one. But another. But and then come across a Zatu called and again, just another sort of dumb little reference. Its name is Muji Yuto, which is obviously the first letter of the Yugimoto, the Yu-Gi-Oh main character, and he challenges them to a game of tic-tac-toe, but the twist is that it's a 4x4 grid. And apparently, if I remember, there's absolutely no artificial intelligence at all to the system. It is literally just putting random variables and
It's random.
it's just the computer's just putting in random squares. There's no AI attached to it, but
I'm sure that was still difficult. He said that was just doing the tic-tac-toe was like the same amount of like script work as the entirety of Chat Comes Out of the Closet, which does not surprise me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised either, because that would, I mean, yes, scripting anything outside of sort of basic character movements takes a lot of time and effort. And I'm sure you and I can both, if you're not copying and pasting something that's already there, building something from scratch takes a while.
Definitely. What do you think about the I know you have this written somewhere, the personality quiz scene. That shit was funny.
Oh yes, I mean, I actually was playing it on a Discord stream while Cucumber was there, and like I knew that it was just a giant shitpost, but like what I did was I actually thought, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going and not kind of take the take the easy, take the joke. I want to let this joke play out as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because we are in the spoiler zone here, and you can only, it's quite funny, right? So at the end of the quiz, it tells you the game tells you how to exit the quiz, and it's like this random long series of button presses and all that. And then at the end, Cucumber goes to me, "Oh, it's actually only one button press." Like, it's just a massive troll, and I love it.
Yeah, that whole thing is great. There's some there's some good questions on there, like is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco? There's one that says, "Do you pour milk before the cereal or pour milk around the bowl?" or some shit like that. Would you rather have nacho cheese or salsa in your oatmeal? Those are the ones I remember.
Yeah. I'm just looking back now, and it's like, and then there's just some absolutely like stupid ones, like, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow, African or European?
Yeah. I also love, like, same thing that we were saying about looking at all three of these hacks. It seems very obvious to me that Chat Comes Out of the Closet is kind of like a transition piece, because at this point we're very much into, a lot of these jokes are pretty you got to think about it a little bit, so there's like an element of absurdity to it, but there's a lot of, at least I think, like, layers to this stuff. And then like as opposed to John Cena, which is a very like 2015, that was firmly in the Vine era, 6-second attention span. There's a lot of bits that run like across the course of the whole hack. The one that comes to mind is like, it's just mentioned for no reason a couple times, like Alexander is Canadian, and the payoff for this joke at the end, someone just asks like, what's it like in Canada or something, and then he mentions my face is on a building, referencing that stupid fucking gif that you've probably seen a million times of like a person swipes up on their phone and then there's like the EV billboard on that skyscraper, or Leafeon billboard on the skyscraper. Just stupid. That's one that I didn't get my first time going through, and then I was like, wow, that joke's really dumb. But that's why I like it,
Yeah, there's multiple layers, and it's great.
Speaking of layers, I have another unhinged rant to go on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the 20XX trilogy, right? There's another thread that connects all three of these hacks, and it is the intro sequence. Okay, I'm just gonna read these off. John Cena, the intro sequence. It says, The year is 20XX. Everyone plays Pokemon Mystery Dungeon at test levels of perfection. Humanity has reached its pinnacle. The leaders of the anti-20XX movement aim to keep 20XX from coming, but their efforts are futile. They are no match for Ask Cucumber, the one true ROM hacker of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky for the Nintendo DS. Try as you will, but 20XX is coming, or maybe it's already here. Okay? Then, you get the chat out, comes out of the closet, and it also starts with the 20XX intro. This time it says, the year is 20XX. Competitive Pokemon Mystery Dungeon has reached its zenith. No longer are hack jam results decided through complex programming and innovative storytelling. With the latest advances in computing technology, it is now possible to calculate the winner of a hack jam before it even starts. However, there is still one variable that no superpower can possibly predict, and his name makes Discord moderators quiver in fear to this day. I laughed at that, by the way. Then in Princess Alexander, it also starts with a 20XX intro, and then the first time I saw that, I was like, okay. Like, that's another set off a little light bulb in my head, like maybe I should go back to the other two. But this one says, Ask Cucumber 20XX Season 2. The year is 20XX. Nintendo is destitute and broke, as their only source of income is through taxing sold copies of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Society has evolved to the point that with a cybernetic implant, you can connect directly to SkyTemple while getting banned from hack jams, free of a DMCA complaint and a C&D letter from Nintendo. I fucking wish. Ask Cucumber is the last living human without an implant, and is found cold and naked, wondering why everyone is constantly saying bean. The second year of 20XX is nearly upon us, or maybe it's already here. So all these are like, again, like back to that point, like individually it's funny, but then you go through it and then you realize there's actually fucking lore here, which some guy makes a stupid meme shit post about Copy Pasa Vaporeon, and that's what he starts his hacking career with. And now it's like, hold on, there's a plot thread that is going on with the intro to all three of these hacks. In the first one, Ask Cucumber says that he is the one true ROM hacker of PMD Explorers of Sky. And then in the third one, it says Ask Cucumber is the last living human without a cybernetic implant. And then the second one saying hack jam results are not decided through programming and innovative storytelling. There is an algorithm that decides the winner of the hack jam. But Ask Cucumber is the one variable no supercomputer can predict. So this is a question I'm going to ask. Maybe I'm not going to say it like directly this unhinged, but does he think that like he is the X factor? You know, like I think everyone when they're a creator, there's a thing where you kind of ask yourself like, what am I bringing to the picture? You know, if you're trying to reach people, if that's your objective, then like what are you doing to reach people? And I feel like across all three of these 20XX intros, he's just literally saying, you guys might be more talented, you guys might be more creative, but I'm just built different. I think that's literally what he's saying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, you got me beat, but you know, I got what you don't have, and that is the ability to make a lot of memes and shit posts.
Oh man.
Like, he was the first to make any sort of hack like that on SkyTemple.
Yeah, there's like comedy hacks, there's PMD abridged, but that's different. Yeah. Not a straight up like again, to bring back the point from earlier, like John Cena is like a concept piece. Which at the time it's just like, okay, this guy's just being, I hate to say the E word, this is another one of those like YouTuber video essayist words that make me want to kill someone, but edgy humor. You know. But with the context of like now looking at 3 different projects that he's made, and the other 2 definitely like do not have the same tone, like that's a concept piece, you know what I mean? Like that's something that was like a conscious thing that he was trying to do. I don't know, man. Like, this is definitely a guy where I look forward to anything that he comes out with, because there is creativity here. I don't know how much of this on purpose and how much of it I'm making up, but either way, I really like the worlds that he's creating. All right, we're doing it. Cue the music. When we come back, we are going to be having an interview with Ask Cucumber and asking some questions, and he'll be answering. All right, we're back. We are joined by Ask Cucumber. We are going to be talking about ROM hacking and other burning questions. I think you wanted to ask the first question, Yakko?
Yeah. So I like to think that when you showed up that and submitted your first hack to the Hack Jam, that this was SkyTemple's wrecking ball moment. I'm showing my age here. If you're a bit young to remember, I'm talking about that.
You mean
time
Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Miley Cyrus decided I'm not a Disney girl anymore and just went full on, like, just shocked the world, shocked everything. Did that thing with the foam finger and all that, and so and what I mean by that is sort of a hack that sort of designs to entertain, but also kind of makes people go wow and whoa and all that. And so I wanted to know, was there anyone or anything you were really going here in terms of inspiration, or was it simply just you just wanted to make a lot of memes and shit posts?
Yeah, that was the objective there. When I went, I actually discovered the announcement for the first Hack Jam completely on accident. I had been messing around with SkyTemple prior to that. I had only made one cutscene, which was the Lamar Rose Franklin cutscene. So my experience with SkyTemple wasn't really that great at the time. So my objective was to, in order to make up for my lack of experience for SkyTemple at the time, my objective was to create the most bizarre idea for a ROM hack that I could possibly come up with. So, like, 2 days before the topic was going to be announced for the Hack Jam, I thought to myself, what is the most ridiculous idea I could possibly come up with? And that's what I came up with. And so I started planning it out. I didn't really plan it out per se. I really only knew the beginning and the end, and the rest I just made it up as I went along.
Yakko, I gotta say, this is kind of leaning into what I was saying earlier about that X Factor thing. Before we cut. I want to ask about that, because while we're on that topic, we talked earlier about how all three of your hacks start with the year is 20XX, and all that stuff. And it seems like a common thread in all three of these is the idea that Ask Cucumber, against all odds, is the one that stands out from the pack, and through this unique creativity or whatever is going to make a memorable experience. Am I on the right track there? Like, do you think that you are just like, you are built different, or what is it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. The 20XX copy pasta, when I came up with it for the first Hack Jam, I did not have an end game when I was writing it for the John Cena hack. The reason why I threw that in was because I needed a good intro, and I couldn't really think of a way to do an intro any better than just by throwing in a random copy pasta. And then as I got more experience and I started making more ROM hacks, I thought it would be cool if I used that initial idea and turned it into like a background narrative. So like a side story that kind of ties all of the hacks in together.
Jack, all I'm saying is I'm pretty sure I was right. Yeah, you're gonna listening to the first half, because I put on my tinfoil hat. I was like, what if that's what he's doing? Man.
Yeah, I think you got it pretty much on the nose there.
Yeah, so I want to talk about Princess Alexander and Mystery Mail for a second, and we've talked about Mystery Mail a little bit and just sort of what follows. So I guess were you when it came to sort of the beginning of Princess Alexander and that Mystery Mail scene, like what were you hoping that, like, just if you could have had complete control over the rest of the story, what would you have hoped that the participants have taken that sort of that direction in? Because I know a few of the participants, they said, "Oh, I set this up and then it didn't get used," or something like that. So, like, was there anything that you were hoping that got put in the Mystery Mail story that ended up sort of just forgotten or left on the cutting room floor?
When I was making the Mystery Mail scene, I didn't have an end game for Princess Alexander either. I really just wanted to throw something in to shake everything up. The idea for Princess Alexander, when I was first making the Mystery Mail scene, I wanted to have like a transformation of one of the characters, like transforming them into like something completely different. I didn't know which character that it was going to be, even as I was writing the scene. If I remember correctly, I decided that it should have been Alexander to take that role. If I remember correctly, it was right after the part when they're walking into the building. When I was scripting that scene, that's when I decided that it should have been Alexander, because I believe that's what made the most sense at the time.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's. I tell you what, that was I think that was probably one of the best scenes in Mystery Mail. I think personally, yeah.
So you've said a couple times already that you like want to shake things up, and I think in the README for Princess Alexander, there's something like exactly how you worded it, but something like along those lines as well. Is this like a would you say that's like a core thread that kind of ties together all your works? Like you just want to shake things up, try something new, in some sort of way. I know it's kind of like a vague question, but I don't know if this like that idea really resonates with you or if that's coincidence.
I mean, shaking things up, I feel like is kind of my style, and so I kind of stuck to it. As for trying new things, I'm learning like new concepts in SkyTemple like every few months, and so each hack that I make is an opportunity for me to try something new. So each hack usually has one or more mechanics that I haven't used in a hack before. Like the John Cena hack had character movement and custom dialogue and background images and MS Paint stuff. I had prior to the John Cena hack, I had never messed around with custom backgrounds or anything like that. And then when I did the chat out hack, when I did the chat out comes out of the closet hack, that was my first exposure to creating actual gameplay and custom dungeons and custom items and things like that. And then the Princess Alexander hack was my first experimentation with variables and using those to create a custom minigame. So each hack has some sort of aspect to it that I've never done before.
So I guess that leads into another question that I wanted to ask personally. So I guess you've made 3 hacks so far. What do you think is like? What is next? For what should we expect from you in the future? Like any exclusive teasers you'd like to share with us? Any scoops for the podcast that we can use for promotion?
I don't really have a plan right now. Like I said before, I'm not really good at planning. I kind of just make stuff up as I go along. But what I would like to try next is to expand on one of the hacks that I've already made, either the Chatot hack or the Princess Alexander hack, and make like an expansion to one of those. One thing I would like to do is when when this podcast gets uploaded to video, I'm most likely going to be reading the comments. So
Okay.
if there's anyone in the audience who would like to add to that, if there's something that you want to see from me, I would love to hear it.
You heard him, comment section.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
You already answered some of this, but what I'd written down was I thought it was interesting how Chat comes out, like you said, that was your first time trying some interactivity outside of cutscenes. You had a custom dungeon. You messed with some of the items in there and whatever. I guess what I'm wondering is, since you didn't come back to that with Princess Alexander, is that something that you are interested in revisiting, or do you think that you've kind of carved your niche with these cutscene movies going on? Or what's next? Is there like overworld movement in the works? Like what are the concepts that are on your head that you see and you're like, yeah, I would like to implement that?
Overworld movement is definitely something I would like to learn. I'm absolutely not limiting myself to cutscene only hacks. My dream for the future is to be able to make a full Pokemon Mystery Dungeon experience from the ground up. But that is an enormous undertaking, as I'm sure you guys are aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of just approaching it one step at a time.
So your process then, as I understand it, is you're just kind of figuring out one step at a time. Like, here are the things that I would probably like need to know how to do in order to get to the full length project. So learn how to do this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, and then just kind of having it be like little projects. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like every project that I make is a warm up for the next one. So, and it's only going to get better from here.
You heard it here first, folks.
Another question I had. In the Princess Alexander README, you mentioned that this was the most complex hack you made, in that just doing that tic-tac-toe mini game was like the same amount of code as all of Chat comes out. Do you think Princess Alexander is your best hack?
It's definitely the most complex hack that I've made. If it's the best hack, I'm not entirely sure, because I believe Princess Alexander to be the better hack, but what I understand from the community is that the Chatot comes out of the closet seems to be the better hack, because that's the one that I think people keep requesting from me to expand upon. Also, I've noticed that the Chatot hack has more views on YouTube, although I'm not sure if that's because it's older, so it's had more time to gain more views. But the Chatot hack has like twice as many views on YouTube as the Princess Alexander hack does.
Yeah, I think an element of that is that, first of all, YouTube's just like fucked up and it's blind luck. And secondly, I think I'm assuming you're talking about PMD Gang. Shout out to PMD Gang if you are watching or listening to this, who uploads a lot of ROM hack videos. I think the audience for that channel is going to be very inclined towards direct references to EOS. So that would make sense to me that the Chat hack would get more views. You might still be right, definitely, because I'm sure that you've done a lot more like looking into this kind of stuff than I, but that's just what comes to mind immediately.
Yeah, and that's why I'm looking for community input as to which hack I should expand upon.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you mind if I ask the next question?
Yeah,
I think
go
it
ahead.
might be one of yours. But...
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess what and hopefully you don't mind me asking this, but I guess after the John Cena hack and then sort of going through and creating Chatot comes out, how hard was it to sort of adapt to a less crude comedy style after that first hack? That's what we were
we talked
wanting
about
to
that
know.
for like most of the just throughout the three, like to what you were saying earlier. There really is this progression you can notice where there's some similarities in the dialogue style, but definitely kind of in favor of having like a coherent narrative over just like the shock value stuff, I guess. So Like how was that transition? Was it like harder, easier than expected? That type of stuff.
It was difficult for me at first. When I was making the Chatot hack, I actually appointed Decimeter as my personal rules lawyer, just to make sure that just to make sure that everything that I was making was okay. And so I sent him the hack before I actually made it public, just to be on the safe side. But personally, shock content is not really something that I want to make anymore. Ever since the John Cena disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather stick to like old memes and things like that.
And it sounds like you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into that either, from what it sounds like. Like I was trying to reiterate.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, what I had wrote down was 3 hacks in all of your hack titles sound like they could be a Panic at the Disco song from 2005. Is that on purpose or is that a coincidence?
That is a coincidence.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with Panic at the Disco.
No, the
idea for the absurdly long hack titles actually comes from Captain Underpants.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I dig it. I knew there had to be some inspiration from. You go ahead.
I'm definitely on board with that. I used to read all of those books as a kid, and for those that maybe aren't familiar with Captain Underpants, like the book titles get progressively longer and longer and longer with each book, and until it just becomes so ridiculous.
Another question I had. I think one thing that I find very interesting about all of your releases so far is the readmes. You know, some people in their readme will just, credits to whoever made the portraits or whatever. You're putting whole ass like blog updates in there. Like I'm not saying this in a bad way at all, because I certainly during development of my hack, I was doing like these long updates too, just like for the sake of like someone might be interested in it. But I guess what I'm getting at is I feel like you don't do that unless there's some kind of purpose to it. I get the impression that you really like you want to be someone, you think you're gonna be someone, you're like, again, going back to that thing from before, you think that like you're the X factor, you're the difference maker, whatever. Am I on the right track here, or am I missing something? Is there another story behind this?
No, there's no particular reason for me. When I made the John Cena hack, everything starts out with the John Cena hack. It seems like, but I was relatively new to the ROM hacking scene at the time, so I kind of felt like writing an essay in the README was kind of a way to get to know me better. And one of the things I was going for when I was writing the README was I wanted to let people know that that I was definitely going to make more hacks, because I wasn't sure what the next one was going to be, or when the next one was going to or when it was going to be. So I wanted to make it very clear in my READMEs that yes, there absolutely is going to be another Ask Cucumber hack, just because I wanted to eliminate the idea of, oh, Ask Cucumber hasn't posted anything in 6 months, he's a dead ROM hacker, or something like that. I wanted to avoid that kind of situation completely.
Why is that? Is that because you see yourself sticking around this community for a long time, that type of thing?
Oh yes, I love this community. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon has been my life ever since I was like 6 years old, and it's always been. I've had 2 dreams ever since I was a kid. My first dream was to become an internet celebrity, which arguably I kind of already have, and second was to make Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, which I also kind of already have.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, Yakko, you were just talking last week about like the whole like, I'm not chasing clout, but I want to promote my stuff. I'm getting similar vibes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I feel like the whole clout chasing thing is a huge self-confidence booster for me.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely something that feels validating almost that people like your stuff. I completely get where you're coming from.
So I want to dig a little further into this because now I'm interested in this because when I was going through development for EOTS, I do not consider myself like an internet clout chaser at all. I say on my podcast, uh, but there's definitely a thing of like um kind of like everything that you mentioned, kind of like a fear of uh kind of becoming unknown. In my case, I would say it was I'm making such a long project, and I know people don't have long attention spans. Maybe that's me being cynical, thinking that, but it's like, oh my gosh, I have to come out with something new every couple months, otherwise everyone's gonna forget about it. And like, yeah, you're you're totally right that there is that sense of validation when you release something that I don't know. It it is unlike making art's weird. Like
Yeah.
you just don't get that exact feeling anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. The whole fear of fading into obscurity has been a thing for me like ever since I first started making ROM hacks. I think actually even before the John Cena hack was finished, I talked about the possibility of fading into obscurity.
So I guess I guess that kind of leads into, again, I just returned to my hack because that's the reference point that I have. I am very big on the idea that creating art can be, and for many people is, I don't want to use this word, but a cure for existentialism, right? Like the idea of if you have something out there that like has a chance to live beyond you, then by logic that kind of like solves that issue. And now it's all starting to make sense to me. Why there's this whole idea of like you are building towards the full length hack, because that is like people will get their eyeballs on that, period. Like especially if it comes out within the next couple years. I mean, I really think that this is like primed to blow up. Since Explorers of the Spirit has been out for 3 months, and that shit has like 10,000 downloads right now, which is insane. I don't think those numbers are gonna go away for any other like full length hacks that come out. People are hungry for PMD stuff, man. So I don't know. Just wanted to throw that out there. I think that is the right idea if you're trying to that's the issue you're trying to solve.
Yeah, the whole reason why I started making hacks that stand out was so I could win the first hack jam, because like I said, I had very little experience going into hack jam 1. So I wanted to make the most unique experience that I could possibly think of. And so that kind of style just kind of stuck with me.
In Hack Jam 1, there's also a line where like they go off script and they're saying, if we show this hack to a group of judges, like what would this do? If it were up to community voting, I would win. I'm curious, how much of that, do you 100% believe that? Do you 50% believe that? Was that just a joke?
I 100% believe that.
Okay.
If you didn't already know, there has not been a single Ass Cucumber hack in existence that received a single jury vote in any category. However, the Chat Out Comes Out of the Closet hack came second in the community vote. So I guess you could say that I predicted the future there.
So do you, because you've already seen podcast 1 at this point, do you think that, because this is actually a conversation that we had kind of behind closed doors of the community vote thing with your hack, and then also in the recent Hack Jam 3 as well with I forget the name of it, but Baroness Farron's hack. It was the same thing. No jury votes, but got second in community choice. what do you think? Because this is all still kind of subject to change. What we have planned right now is that the nomination phase is going to be done by judges, but then the vote, there's going to be like a portion of it that is just done by the general audience. Like the general audience vote will count. Like the collective vote will be like numbers up in the air, but like say one jury vote. You know, does that sound like something that could be a compromise?
It seems like it. What am I trying to say? I feel like if I make my hacks eye-catching enough, one or more of the jury members will see it. Will have the need to nominate one,
Mm-hmm.
and then once it goes to the community vote, I think I'm set.
For sure. Why do you think that? Why do you think there's that discrepancy? Because I have an answer, but I'm curious what you think.
To me, I believe that there's a level of professionalism that the jury members have that the community doesn't have. I'm pretty sure that's where the discrepancy comes from.
And to be clear, you don't mean that in like a disparaging way. It's just a certain like people on the jury take themselves more seriously, I guess is what you're getting at.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if I can add my 2 cents, having just been a jury for the most recent Hack Jam, I think it's a challenge really to kind of most of the jury with these Hack Jams, and you've been on it too, Max, is that they're sort of, for want of a better term, professional ROM hackers or those prominent in the community, and I think they since they've been working with SkyTemple or that, I think there's I guess there's more of a need to judge in a way that it's not so much looking at the entertainment value as it's kind of like the disparity you have between the top grossing box office movies and then
Right.
you know some indie film winning an Oscar that no one's ever seen. Like I think it's almost the same thing when you get people who sort of work day in and day out with the tool. You're going to get different results to those who simply play for enjoyment, and their only criteria is, am I entertained?
Yeah, I think a better way of saying it is jury members vote objectively, but the community votes subjectively.
I personally disagree with voting objectively even being possible, but I get what you're saying. Of, you know, there's a certain tendency of when, you know, because like jury members are just normal people, but I think like when you're in that position, there is a tendency to try and think through things with as much of an unbiased lens as possible. But then that kind of presents the question of like, should you do that? Because that doesn't seem to be what the general public is doing, you know, and what is really the audience for something that you're putting out into the world. I don't know what the answer is, because there's definitely a debate you can have on both sides, but just things I've been thinking about.
I've never really considered what my audience wants until recently. Like I figured, since this is an online community, I felt like memes and video game references would be appreciated, which is why I kind of threw in a lot of those things into my hacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the only way that I've considered my audience.
We are at a half hour. I just want to close out and kind of ask. There is this transition period, right? How you mentioned that you've been making a release for every hack jam, and then in the middle is kind of like your grind time, trying things out. That seems to be what a lot of people in this community do. That's not the route that I went, but I'm curious, what is that like? Like, what do you do when you're just trying stuff and you don't see an immediate tangible benefit for your hack. Can you talk through that process?
So I feel like when I discover something new, it's just another tool that I can add to my toolbox. And usually whenever I find something new, I try to find a way to implement that in the next hack that I'm making. As for participating in hack jams, I think there's no real specific reason for that, except for the timing of the hack jam kind of fits the timing of me finding new tools and getting an opportunity to use them.
Okay, perfect. That's probably the best sales pitch for the hack jams you could have given, the opportunity to test out your tool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the hack jam is it's great. It's I would say beginner friendly, and yeah, it's I would say for those listening on the podcast, if you've been afraid of trying something or starting with SkyTemple, the hack jams that come up periodically are fantastic because it doesn't matter how small or big the hacks are. I mean, we have a time limit length of 90 minutes, and a lot of them didn't even reach that. But really, just see what you can come up with in 3 weeks. And I've done it. Cucumber's done it. I mean, I think we both can endorse the hack jams for trying out new things and yeah, just learning basically.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever made a hack that was more than 30 minutes long.
Wow, you're actually right now that I think about it.
Definitely, for all of the new people who are looking into creating ROM hacks, definitely don't look at the 90-minute time limit and be like, oh, my hack has to come somewhere close to that. Because none of my hacks and a lot of other hacks don't even come anywhere close to that time limit.
Yeah, it's just about making an impression. Kind of what you were saying earlier. You have to stand out from the pack. That's it. No time limit required.
Right.
I just realized that we forgot to ask the most important question right when the interview closed. So, ask Cucumber, why is whichever one you decided, Princess Alexander or Chat Comes Out of the Closet, going to be Hack of the Year?
Personally, in my opinion, I don't think either hack deserves Hack of the Year in their current state, which is why I want to expand on them. I think they could probably win one of the categories, like, but wasn't there like a most creative category or something like that?
Yep.
I could probably... There isn't one?
There is, yes.
There is? Okay, yeah, I could probably win one of the categories like that. I don't think I deserve Hack of the Year, though. I think there are a lot of much better hacks out there.
Alright. Very humble answer. All right, any closing remarks that you want to tell the people?
I think I only have one thing left to say, and that's, in the words of Metal Gear Solid 1, the best is yet to come.
Alright, thank you for coming on. Thank you everyone for watching. We made it to episode 2. We're gonna make it to episode 3 as well. Let's fucking go.
Woo!
See ya.
See you next time.
See ya.